Hey, Ryan here with another social skills video. I've been coaching social skills full-time for over 12 years now. Today I'm going to give you guys a really good tip on managing your emotions, which is the most important area of social skills by a long way. So this tip will help you to reduce the strength of any negative emotions that you have. So by negative emotion, what I mean by that is just it feels bad. So for example, sadness, nervousness, stress, frustration are examples of emotions that I reckon every single person would agree feel bad. You might not always want to have your negative emotions reduced, but with this tip, if you want to make them go away or at least become less of a big strength than they were before, this will help you a lot. I think that in our culture at the moment, we're told by things on the news, and I don't watch the news, but I see it secondhand, on the news, from magazines, things like this, we're often kind of told that negative emotions are good and you should have them, you need them, and there seems to be this narrative pushed of overestimating the importance of them. So I think we mostly don't need emotions that feel bad. I don't think we don't need them at all, but I think we need them a lot less than people realize. For example, people often say that stress is good because it helps you to get stuff done. But instead of stress, you can have enthusiasm instead, which helps you to get stuff done and doesn't feel bad, and also doesn't tire you out. It doesn't shut down or slow down your immune system while you're stressed. And it doesn't make you procrastinate in the future because now you've got a reference experience for the time you're stressed before. So here's the tip. So what you do is you make a note on your phone. I think on the phone is the best place. If you're someone who has a different way of organizing their life, then feel free to put your list in a different place. But I think in your phone on the notes section or whatever equivalent you have pinned to the top, and I'm going to title it something like My Emotions Toolkit. I call mine My Emotions Weapons, because that fits my sort of vibe. And the basic premise of it is you write down all of the different things you know about how you can manage your emotions, all of the different things you know that make you less sad or less stressed or more happy, because that's the opposite to sadness, for example. And you put them in a list. So I'll go through this in a bit more detail and a few of the nuances to it. But basically, when you have negative emotions, the vast majority of the time, that means that you're less able to think of solutions than you usually are. So it shuts down your thinking more than normal. And on top of that, I think probably everyone, once you start to list them, definitely I have way too many things to just remember off the top of my head straight away. So having them there in a list, if I feel really bad, I can go into it, my thinking isn't as good as usual, and there's too many to remember anyway, but I've got them all there laid out in front of me. So I'm way more likely to use them and way more likely to use them more quickly. Because in the past, something that would happen to me a lot is I had to know something about how to manage my emotions, and I would have some bad emotions for a while, and then afterwards I would remember, oh, I should have done this thing, I should have done this thing. That kept happening until I started making this list. And it's really, really effective if you actually go and use it. So you make the note, ideally in your phone notes, and then you want to make a subtitle for each different emotion that you're trying to reduce. And I'll go through what I think would recommend to have in there as the different subtitles in a while. But first of all, I'll start explaining some more of it. You obviously want to make it so it's clear where things are, so maybe put the subtitles in bold or bigger text, etc. I think with these kinds of things, if it's an important note, then I usually try to make sure it looks nice, and I use some emojis and stuff like that, but that's up to you. So for each emotion, you want to have a bunch of bullet points of all the different things you know that can help you with that emotion. So that might include some hacks or moves that you can use, whatever you want to call them. I have a few posted on my channel already. I've got loads of different ones I've worked out, because my main method of working out how social skills works these days is by basing it on emotions and what makes different emotions change. Because I think social skills ultimately is all just emotions. So the only difference between managing your own emotions and social skills is that social skills is also managing other people's emotions as well as yours. And the only goal is ultimately to cause good emotions, which I made another video about before. So you want to have the different hacks. One example of a hack, you don't have to call it a hack, we can call it a move or whatever, is gratitude. This is a really simple one just to explain as an example. Gratitude, all you do is you list things that you're grateful for. And that way you focus your mind on stuff that is better than was expected. So that could range from you passed your exam for school recently, or it could be something small like there was a funny joke earlier, or you ate a biscuit that was nice. Whatever you're focusing on, if it's something that you're grateful for, this will increase your happiness and therefore decrease your sadness to some extent or another. It's not necessarily going to solve the issue straight away, but it will help. And if you make it into a habit that your mind does automatically by keep on doing consistently over time, it starts to become really powerful. I do have another video on gratitude also. So that's one example of a move that is based on the function of how emotions works, that should work for all people. Then on top of that, so you have those, you also want to have in a list basic obvious things. Because when you are in a state of negative emotions, you might not remember these basic obvious things. So things like exercise, sunlight, drinking enough water, because if you're dehydrated, that's bad for your emotions. Having a nap, so you have enough sleep if you're tired. Eating food, because if you're hungry, that affects your emotions. So all of these things that are super obvious that everyone should know, have those in there as well. And by the way, if any of these apply for more than one of the emotions, just repeat it in both of them, just copy and paste it in both of them, because what you want is you want to be able to go, I'm really stressed, let's look in my note, scroll to the bit that says stress, and there it is, without having to look for other parts and complicate it when it's this. But the point of why this works is because it's just completely minimizes down by almost 100% probably the chance that you're going to forget a certain method of how you can help to solve what's going on at the time. So moves that should work for everyone. One example is gratitude. Another example is a perspective shift, or I think I made a video on this a while back and it's called reframing. Then things that are really obvious like sunlight, etc., exercise. Then also you want to add nutrition-based things. So there's quite a lot of things in supplements that you can get and nutrition and stuff like that that can help to increase your happiness, decrease your stress, that kind of thing. Nutrition, I think, is a really worthwhile subject to look into. I've studied it a bit every day for years now, so I know quite a bit about it, not as much as I do about social skills, obviously. So yeah, have nutrition-based things in there that you know of. One simple example is chocolate releases endorphins. So I wouldn't recommend eating chocolate all the time because it's bad for you. But if you're super upset, then it might be a good option, perhaps. Then the fourth thing that you also want to include are things that are personal to you. So if there's a certain YouTube channel that you like watching that makes you feel good in a certain way, or perhaps there's a certain movie or a piece of music or a genre of music or a game that you can play or a person that you can talk to and call or who lives near you or something, have these options on there as well. So if there's a certain person you know you can call on the phone and they make you feel more happy, list that person on there also. So these things will be personal to you. And then whenever you think, fill it out as much as you can the first time or until you get bored and then continue later. And then every time you learn or realize something new or remember something that you forgot but you haven't added already, I would recommend that you add it to the list straight away, because I think managing your emotions is, I would argue, the most important thing in anything that you want to be good at, in my opinion, unless your aim was to purposely be bad at managing emotions, but that would be a strange goal to have. Definitely for social skills, managing your emotions is the most important thing by miles. So if you feel like your mood is really bad and you have strong negative emotions, all we do is simply first work out which emotions you have. If you feel like you don't really know, then just see what your best guess is. But if you keep doing this, you can quite quickly get quite good at identifying which emotions you have. I usually find I have between 3 and 5 at once, I would say. So you work out which ones you got, and you go into your note, which ideally should be pinned to the top, so it's easy to find. It's not going to take, you want the least extra steps possible, because if you're super sad, for example, it saps your motivation, so it's hard to do even small bits of effort at that time. And then you go to the section that's relevant to whatever negative emotions you've got, have a look at the different options, and then see which ones you want to pick at the time. That one seems easy. Oh, I can do that one now, but I can't do it later. Or this one is quick to do. Or I know that one works well, so I choose that. And then you keep using a bunch of these. Most of the time, these aren't going to solve the emotion in one with one thing. But if you do 5 or 10 of them, then it can basically change your mood back to a good mood. So my suggestions as what to have in there: subtitles. Firstly, my explanation, short explanation on some opinions I have about emotions. I think there's way too many words for emotions. I think that nervousness, worrying, and anxiety are all the same thing. I think that frustration, being irritated, and annoyed are all the same thing. So I think that at the moment, I think there's 36 different emotions. And like I said, this is the main thing I work on trying to figure out for social skills, because I think managing emotions is the most important thing in social skills. And also I would also argue that emotions are the only thing in social skills. It's all just about, the only reason anything is relevant is how it changes people's emotions. So the ones that I would recommend having is 1, how to reduce sadness. And emotions have opposites as well. So anyone who's ever played Pokemon will be familiar with type advantages, like water's good against fire, fire's good against grass, grass good against water. Emotions work in a similar way. So sadness, how to reduce sadness or how to increase happiness, the same thing. Then I'd have another subtitle for anger, frustration, stress, nervousness, and fear. And then all of those, if you increase your calmness or your confidence or amusement, so that's the emotion that causes laughter, or love, those 4 emotions are all super effective against all of those 5. The amusement and love are good against all negative emotions, by the way, so they're good against sadness as well. So far we've got sadness, fear, nervousness, stress, frustration, anger. And I'd also have one for how to increase your motivation as well. And I'd also have one for if you're feeling like you have low confidence, some hacks for, or points rather, for how to increase your confidence. Those are the main ones I would suggest. So that's how many? 8 different things. Some other optional extras, and I would tailor this to what's most relevant to you. If there's certain emotions that you feel like you don't struggle with almost at all, I might leave them out to make it more simple. And if there's some of these optional extras I'm including here that you feel like are more relevant to you, then I'd add these in too. So one is jealousy, another one is boredom, and another one is guilt, and another one is being hurt, which I think is a different emotion to sadness. When someone close to you hurts you, I personally think that's a different emotion. So those are some other optional extras you might want to add too. So just as a summary, you make a note in your phone notes, call it Emotions Toolkit, or I call mine Emotions Weapons, or you can call it Emotional Solutions, whatever you want to choose, whatever name appeals to you the most. Pin it to the top of the notes section in your phone. If you're someone who really thinks you'd be better off with a piece of paper or something, feel free, but I think probably everyone who watches this almost is mostly going to have their phone as the most easy, convenient thing. And you list in there a bunch of different subtitles, different emotions, and all of the different things you know that can help you with that emotion, ranging from things that should work for everyone, it's based on how the mind functions, to nutrition stuff, to obvious stuff, to things that are personal to you, that are based on movies you like, music you like, people you know, stuff like that. And when you have negative emotions, try to figure out which ones you have. If you can't figure it out, then just have your best guess. Go into the note and then check what moves you've got to use and use a bunch of them. And the reason why this is really effective is because generally if you have strong negative emotions, it makes you less capable of thinking of solutions and less able to remember the solutions. And you'll probably find that you've got more than enough, too many to remember anyway. So by having them all in a list, It means you're more likely to actually go and use these things that will help you to deal with being in a terrible mood, which means you'll be better at managing your emotions as a result. You'll also, through using this more and more, be able to remember them more often without having to use your phone as well, because you'll have them in a list and you'll be looking at them more often. So that was another social skills video. As I said, I think managing your own emotions is the most important thing in social skills by a really long way. If you want to support what I'm doing to help make the world a better place through helping people with social skills, please like, comment and subscribe and share the videos. And if you're interested in getting help for your social skills, we do a free trial session, which is completely free. It's about half an hour, it's one-to-one coaching. All you have to do is go to socialshortcuts.com, or the link in the description should have a link to the website there. If you're that lazy, you just want to click it instead, and then fill out the form, and then we'll get back to you shortly after and arrange a time. We also have a WhatsApp group chat. If you want to chat about social skills, I'm in there, so you can answer a question and I'll answer the question, or other people will answer the question. We have discussions. Click the link to join. And finally, we have a video course on how to not run out of things to say in conversation, so how to hold conversation and how to overcome your nerves to speak to new people. So stay tuned, I'll be giving you some more videos on helping with social skills.